Hi, welcome back to Elements in Focus. I'm Aaron Rheaume, and I've got our Manager of Advisor Operations, Grant Sullivan, here with me. We record this on a weekly basis just to give you some snack bite information on our five critical elements. And Grant, it is a pleasure to have you here with me this morning. I am excited to talk about risk management and life happens, and none other than someone that spent a decade, almost a career in the life insurance side. So you are very, very knowledgeable in how all of these things work. Today we're going to talk about investments in life insurance, and so I'll tee that up for you and let you run with the conversation. So Grant, again, welcome. Let's talk about investments in life insurance.
100% glad to be here, Aaron. Always a pleasure doing this with you and with our team members. So, my decade in the industry and insurance taught me quite a few things, right? And you know, when we talk about investments in life insurance, we're talking about a permanent product called variable universal life insurance. And back when the tax code was getting modified, before Roth IRAs really became prevalent, you had the insurance industry open up life insurance vehicles, and you were allowed to invest just like you were a brokerage account. And insurance salesmen would tell you, hey, listen, this grows tax free. You can borrow from yourself, it's tax free, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, fast forward to today, and these vehicles may have fallen out of favor for many reasons, the change in tax code, but also they're not very efficient. And so, for those of you that have life insurance vehicles that have investments in them, et cetera, you need to review these on an ongoing basis if you're not. Because a down market like we're experiencing right now, the time of this show, that could put a lot of stress on your insurance portfolio and the death benefit you're potentially relying on. So we can talk about the differences between temporary insurance and fixed insurance, which I think we did another show on at some point, Aaron. So I recommend, if you're wanting to know what that looks like, go back to that show. But particularly with this, make sure you know what you're invested in your policy. And as inflation concerns continue to rise, that's something you're also going to need to pay attention to. And so your investments are getting pummeled and the cost of insurance to you is rising. And you need to have in-force illustrations run on your policies every single year, or at least every couple of years, to make sure that your insurance policy isn't going to lapse, or we say in our industry, implode on you by accident. And it's actually even more important if you have a investment portfolio, maybe a fixed insurance product, because interest rates, right, being as low as they are, these policies and cost of insurance that's rising because of your age are getting harder and harder and harder to sustain. So don't get caught off guard when you have investments in a life insurance vehicle. Manage those appropriately. And quite honestly, if you've done a great job investing and your cash value is at a point where it's higher than ever, it may be time to transition that policy or look at other alternatives, especially when you're evaluating long-term care. So definitely appreciate you having me on the show, Aaron, to discuss that. And that's what I'd recommend for all those listening.
Yeah, great wisdom there, Grant. One thing to add on to that is I think you briefly mentioned this, is just the investment vehicles themselves are very heavy laden with fees and expenses. And so they can be very cost inefficient. And a lot of times you don't have good investment choices inside of the life insurance vehicles. So if you do have those plans, as Grant mentioned, make sure you are reviewing those at least yearly or every couple years to make sure that they are still meeting your needs. If they don't, we want to make sure if there's things that we can do to save some of that cash value, we would definitely look through that and get that in-force illustration to help guide that decision making. Grant, such a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you for talking through life insurance and the investments inside of that. If you want to know more or hear more about our content or schedule a meeting with one of our advisor teams, you can schedule a complimentary next steps meeting. Call us at 800-928-4001. Brittany will be on the other end to take that phone call and get a meeting scheduled. You can also email us at talktofeg@yourlifeafterwork. go to yourlifeafterwork.com. And if you want to dig a little more deeper into our content, we have Consider This radio program. It's podcasted on those listed on the screen, and then also shown throughout the streamed throughout the week on those radio stations. So again, thank you for paying attention and listening to Grant and I in Elements in Focus. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.